Hi, this is Jerry Carter with the Sierra Crest Business Law Group. I want to talk about franchise agreements. We get a lot of questions from clients who are looking to buy a franchise because it is sold as a ready-to-go system that you can just get up and running and start making an instant profit. And so for a lot of people, franchises turn out to be a very wild success. And they get a lot of support from the franchisor. They have rules and systems and training, and they're set up for success. For others, the experience of buying and owning a franchise can be very disappointing. And a lot of it has to do with not having a clear understanding of what the relationship between the business owner and the franchisor was going in. And so there are a lot of surprises that happen in that first couple of years of franchise ownership. And for that reason, a lot of people who want to buy a franchise will come bring their franchise agreement to our law firm so that we can review it and walk them through what exactly it is that they're getting into. And so I want to talk about some of the things that you as a potential purchaser of a franchise should be looking out for and considering during the process of deciding whether to buy a franchise. So the first thing you want to be aware of going into a franchise is what are going to be your upfront costs to just get this thing off the ground. And so what you'll want to do, what will be really helpful is if you just have a page where you're listing out all the fees that are paid to the franchisor, as well as all the fees that you're going to incur with landlords and other service providers and other vendors to get the franchise up and running. And this is particularly important where you're starting a new franchise instead of buying an existing franchise. But you may be surprised as you go through the 70-page franchise agreement what all the various fees are. And so you just want to have those all in front of you. And then you can ask the question, if I'm sinking $500,000 into this franchise, how long is it going to take to earn those costs back to where I can start earning my first dollar of profit? And sometimes if you do the analysis, it can take 5 to 7 years before you're going to see that first dollar of profit. The second thing you want to be aware of going into a franchise is what is the potential for the franchisor to change the terms of the deal after I'm already in the deal? In other words, can the franchisor unilaterally raise the cost of the supplies that it's requiring me to buy from the franchisor? Can the franchisor unilaterally change the operating manual and make me incur costs to bring my facility up to date with the new standards? Can the franchisor change how much I have to pay for marketing, during year 5, 6, or 7 down the road? So you just want to get a gauge on how much exposure you have to the franchisor changing the terms of the deal after you've made your investment. Another topic you want to take a hard look at when you're buying a franchise is what is the protected territory. In other words, if I open up a store for XYZ company and I'm on Main Street and First, what is the potential that another XYZ store could pop up on First Street and Center Street, 2 blocks away, 2 miles away, 20 miles away? What is the geographic area in which I'm protected and in which the advertising dollars I'm spending are going to my benefit? And so you'll want to know that, and you'll also want to know what is the potential that I have to get an option on neighboring territories. And so you want to look out and say, well, if everything works out really well with this franchise, I might want to open a second, third, fourth store. And do I have the right in the contract to be the next, the first priority person who can buy that territory? Another thing that comes up with franchises is the question of training and support from the franchisor on the one hand, and then versus meddling and micromanaging from the franchisor on the other hand. And so you definitely want to look for a franchise that has a happy balance to where they are providing real deal training and support to help you succeed in the business, and at the same time they're not handcuffing you. So one example we had is we had a franchisee who had a lot of conflict with the franchisor because the franchisor had a website and they were letting customers buy pizzas with multiple coupons. So the customer would log in 2 or 3 coupons and And so by the time the order got to our client's store, they were hardly making any money out of the pizza. And our client finally just had to say, I don't care what your rules are, they're honoring one coupon and they're gonna pay what's left on the price. So another issue that you're gonna wanna be aware of going into a franchise is what is the level of support and training that you're going to receive from the franchisor, and then also what is the level to which your franchisor and their regional managers and what have you are going to be a pain in your patootie because they're micromanaging you and holding you to rules that don't make sense. And really the contract's not going to necessarily tell you the story. You have to talk to other franchisees who will tell you what their real life experiences are with the company. There are a lot of issues with franchise, but I want to talk about one more, which is what is the actual performance? We recently had a client come in with a 70-page franchise agreement, and our attorney took a look at that and walked through him, all the various issues with the franchise. But in addition, she was able to do some independent research on the franchisor, and the franchisor has published financial statements and information basically where they admit that only 40% of their franchisees are profitable. And so our attorney was able to share that with the client just to educate him about what the real life experience might be. And so you definitely want to be focused on what is happening with the other franchisees in the country and how, is it a success for them or not? So now you know some of the issues that you want to definitely be looking out for when you're considering buying a franchise. Do you have other questions? Yes, most certainly you have other questions. If you have questions and are ready to get those answered, please give us a call.